First, the countries highlighted in gold, some of them, of course, out of place. We just brought them into the map. The United States, Canada, Spain, France, Italy, Great Britain, and over here, Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. Those are the countries who have committed to the coalition. As Jonathan Mann just noted, the action today carried out by French, British, and U.S. military forces. Let's take a closer look. These are the targets. We know there are about 20 targets, all of them along the northern Libyan coast, most of them in the western part, the key Gaddafi-controlled areas, the capital of Tripoli, for example. Now, why were the attacks here? Number one, this is the most important part of the country anyway. It's where the oil and gas resources are. It's where most of the population is. But these, Wolf, right here, these are the key targets early on. You see these circles, these larger purple circles. Those are S-200 in U.S. military lingo, S-5 in NATO military lingo. They are Russian-made surface-to-air missiles, Gaddafi's best. They have a range of about 150 miles. They're older Russian missiles, but they're still dangerous and punishing, and they are being targeted first because of their ability to hit coalition aircraft. So most of the cruise missiles, we are told, aimed at these larger anti-aircraft surface-to-air missile sites. And you see the smaller circles, those are more local anti-aircraft batteries as well. Shorter range, they also are among the early targets. The goal here, devastate Gaddafi's ability to use his military to strike coalition targets. Now, how was this done? Let me close this map down for 1 second, and we'll take a closer look at it. First, the first thing I'd like to bring in is just a show. Got to close this one down. Bring this in here and show you just the U.S. naval assets that are available just offshore. These two are where you want to focus for now, the USS Stout, the USS Barry. Why? They are guided missile destroyers. Guided missile destroyers, they have the capability to fire cruise missiles. And if you bring this up, you will see what was done. As you just noted, 110, maybe 112 cruise missiles used in the operation. They came from the USS Stout. They came from the USS Barry. Cruise missile, guided missile destroyers on top of the Mediterranean Sea. They also came from the USS Florida, the USS Providence. Those are two submarines that carry cruise missiles, and a British submarine as well, we are told, off there. Here's a picture of a Tomahawk cruise missile. It hovers low to the ground. It is programmed on the ship. There is a newer version that can actually hover over a target, send back images, and then they pick the final target. We are told the ones launched today, even though they included some of the newer versions, were all programmed on the ships and subs and sent directly at their targets. And Wolf, here's a photograph. You just showed some of the video. This is from the USS Barry. This is one of those Tomahawk cruise missiles taking off from the ship to make its way inland. Now, one more quick look at what's going to happen here in the days ahead as we play this out. I want to pull this other map down. Here's essentially the resources at play here. The French fighter jets, they left from up here earlier. A French carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, is leaving from Toulon. That will make its way into the Mediterranean. This is the Libyan coast right here. And you see a number of U.S. and NATO facilities in Italy. They will be in play over the next few days. A U.S. Naval Air Station over here in Spain as well. As this plays out, Wolf, we know early on, in the early days, we are told, look, what happened today will be repeated until they minimize and take out these air defenses right up in here, and then it will shift to NATO control running up in that area. But right now, for the next 24 to 48 hours, expect most of the targeting to be right here. Gaddafi's only ability to shoot up at those coalition jets, Wolf.
Do we have any idea, John, when the Arab coalition partners, whether the United Arab Emirates or Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, some of the other Arab countries with robust air forces of their own, will actually get into this game?
We are told that the Qataris and the Emiratis will participate in enforcement of the no-fly zone. As of yesterday, I had not heard that the Jordanians or anyone else had agreed to participate. But if you look at, close out the map here, I just want to show you, since you made that point here, the United States especially thinks the Emiratis are very prepared for this. They have the most sophisticated F-16s that the United States sells to international partners, and they have trained with the American Air Force. So the Pentagon says look for the Emiratis to be involved early on, and the Qataris also have committed to be part of the no-fly zone. Their weapons, see if I can get that to come up here. Their weapons, the main fighter that will be involved here is a Mirage, a French-made fighter from the Qatari Air Force. We are told they should be involved, and they will be involved in the no-fly zone enforcement. But, Wolf, in the early next day or two, look first, before you see a lot of yes, the French jets were up today, but before you see a lot of jets up in the sky over Libya, look for a lot more pounding along the coast to minimize the risk to those pilots.
And I assume that in addition to taking out the anti-aircraft missile batteries, the radar equipment, they're going to have to start cratering the runways at the Air Force bases that the Libyans have, and they're going to have to start jamming all their electronic equipment to make sure they can't communicate with each other. That would be a very demoralizing step for the Libyan military.
And you can be certain the jamming is already underway. The United States has some drones in the area. Those ships I showed you out in the Med also have the capability both from the ships and aircraft aboard those ships to jam communications. There's AWACS up above watching everything that Gaddafi does and other intelligence assets. So you can be certain the jamming is already underway. You mentioned the Libyan installations. These are air installations, and again, the ones that matter most are these ones along the northern coast. And this will be a key goal. And you see it here. You would use fighter jets, bomber jets to do this. This is a picture. It's not from Libya, but it's from a marine operation in the past. You crater the runway. That's to prohibit any takeoffs and landings. Now, they can be filled in, of course, but anytime they're being filled in from satellite imagery, drones flying above, AWACS aircraft above, you would see the activity happening out here. So this also will be a target. We have not been told about any of this happening in the early hours. They're mainly going for the anti-aircraft installations here, but you can be certain a key priority, take out his ability to take off and land those jets if he doesn't get the message from the initial hours of the bombings.